Bond and Tracy get into a car together, and as they drive away are chased by Bunt and Co. This is a really fantastic car chase that takes up a solid 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, but one of the attributes that I have to give the director Peter Hunt is that he's very good at making even very long scenes feel short. He has a great direction with what he wants to do with this film, and it's really demonstrated here. Bond has the goal of reporting back to MI6, which is a boring way to fill 10 minutes, but draping it with a car chase and exciting music is a perfect way to make this a very important plot point that's actually interesting at the same time. Anyways, great car chase, but every movie has its problem, and for me, this is it. At the end of the chase, Bunt's car crashes and explodes, and as you see her run away from the explosion, you hear her yelp. Later, you find out she isn't dead, so there is only one of three ways to explain this. One, they try to make it seem as if she's dead, so that the ending is more of an oh shit moment. Two, some random lady yelled. Or three, Bunt was yelling because the car exploded. I really don't like this though, because Bunt just doesn't seem like the kind of character who would yell like that in any situation. And if it was just a random lady yelling, then why include it? I know it's nitpicky, but it's a part of the movie that has always just driven me nuts whenever I see it. But besides that one little tiny detail, everything else just builds up to a really fantastic car chase that's a really highlight of this movie. God, I hate it. Anyways, Tracy and Bond escape to a barn when Bond declares his love for Tracy and therefore proposes. Yeah, I kind of glossed over that, I know. The next day, Bond and Tracy are skiing when Blofeld ruins the show, causing an avalanche and another cool yet brief ski chase. I really love this one because with the exception of models, there's really no cheap tricks that are played with this. It's really large-scale shots which make everything feel more real. Hell, even the avalanche looks awesome. But to get back on track, the avalanche presumably takes Bond out, yet Tracy is captured. But of course, Bond survives and goes back to MI6, but with the help of Tracy's dad, not MI6, plots a raid on Piz Glory to save Tracy. A bunch of technical things occur to make this occur, but to get right to the action, Bond and Papa Tracy raid Piz Glory the next day, while at the same time Tracy acts up to Blofeld in an attempt to deceive him that she's actually interested in this scheme. Oh my god, it's fantastic. The raid itself is actually really cool. It's the last time the original James Bond theme is featured. It has Tracy being a badass, and it's just a really choreographed fight. The balance between showing a little bit of Tracy and then a little bit more of Bond and then a little bit more of Tracy fighting is just really well done, and I love it. So after saving Tracy, Bond pursues Blofeld in the most badass scene in the entire movie. After Bond finds where every girl with the virus is, virtually ruining Blofeld's plan, Papa Tracy and Co. set explosives timed for 5 minutes, leaving Bond and Blofeld to explode in Piz Gloria. Both escape in time and meet each other in a wonderful bobsled chase. I've already talked about this fight before in my top 10 fights per Bond actor, and this one is just so fun and exciting. Having this occur on a bobsled was a wonderful idea. It makes everything feel faster and more exciting because everything is occurring on such a tight space there's almost no mistakes allowed, which makes this fight even more exciting, coupled with the fact that by the end, neither of them are really steering the bobsled, and you just get a really awesome fight. So in the end, Bond does kill Blofeld by throwing him to a tree branch, basically saving the day. A dog comes to give Bond brandy, and then we have one of the most strangely original scenes in the entire series.
Your Royal Highnesses, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, the toast is the bride and bridegroom, Mr. and Mrs. James Bond.
Yep, Bond gets married. So with all this over, Bunt and Blofeld dead, Bond and Tracy can live happily ever after. The two get married, and it's just so sad because the shot of Moneypenny at that wedding is just... It's sad, her crying, oh my god, it's terrible. And I'm sure this is the only tear-jerking thing in this entire scene, right? Right? So as they drive off, Bond gets peer pressured by some teens driving by them to stop his car because they look silly or something. And as they pull over, Tracy speaks of their future when this happens.
First a boy and then a girl.
It's Blofeld. It's Blofeld.
Oh, shit. Tracy gets killed and probably, and I know I may get some hate for this, but the single most important scene in the series. It explains how Bond actors are connected with all of them mentioning her directly or indirectly, and it also drives a turn for Bond to be more of a hard ass. Think about it. Bond only live twice, or Bond and Diamonds Are Forever. Who's nicer? For me, this is the most important scene in the Bond series, and whenever I think of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I always think of it as the film that changed the franchise forever. But credit where credit's due. For nothing else, this 1 minute scene is the best acting Lazenby ever did in probably his entire career, and you can't fault him for that. And that's how Tracy Bond and George Lazenby left the series forever.
Indubitably.
An avalanche of action. Bigger, better, different.
So that's On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the 6th film in the franchise. When I first made my channel Quinn, I think I rated this as my 18th favorite film in the series, but after my last 2 viewings, this one in particular, I might just put it in the top 5. I mean, this film has everything: an amazing cast, an amazing score, an awesome theme song, moments of greatness from George Lazenby, and just a really thought-out, structured plot. Now, to further address my previous point, why is the final scene so important? For me, there's a lot to it. It shows that Bond has heart. It gave Lazenby a known wish to say farewell to Bond series. It gives Blofeld that much more evilness behind him. It makes it so that the series has a new direction go and so much more. But for me, seeing as Tracy's one of my favorite Bond girls, seeing her go out like that is just... it's sad, but it's, it's the best death probably for any character in the series. I'll address why her character in particular is so important in the series in a different video, but it just cannot be understated. This film really is spectacular though, and I hate to say it, but Lazenby is partially to thank. If Connery was in here, even though he is by far a better actor, he just wouldn't have had that same raw heart that Lazenby brought. So if you're asking, yes, I 100% support Lazenby. He's not a good actor, but that also helps him in this role. Having a raw person, not actor, person, play this role I think is a key to this film's success because you can feel his emotion more. He's the average Joe, and if Connery was in this role, because he was just on a pedestal and was larger than life, it wouldn't have been believable to actually see him full-on fall in love with Tracy. Don't get me wrong, watching Connery and Rigg would have been amazing, but having Lazenby as Bond in this film is just as good, but for different reasons. So overall response, this movie is great. Although I prefer all the other Bonds over Lazenby, he's perfect for this one film, but alas, because film studios are money hogs and this film didn't earn as much as a lot of other Bond films usually do. Hell, Thunderball made $1 billion compared to Secret Service's $150 million. Lazenby and Eon mutually split apart. Aha, but that's what they want you to think. There's actually a series of contract disputes that led to the death of Lazenby Bond. At one point, Lazenby was actually offered to star in every Bond film until 1990, so basically every film until License to Kill. But Lazenby's manager said the Bond series was dying, and because his manager had final say in contracts, Lazenby couldn't make the deal even though he wanted to. Yes, Lazenby could have been the most famous actors in history, one of, doing 12 Bond films in total. But no, because of a stupid manager who said the Bond series was dying. So that is the story of George Lazenby in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. A great film with an actor who could have been great, but was screwed up by one awful manager. So that's On Her Majesty's Secret Service. A great film with great acting that doesn't get the love it deserves. Happy New Year's, everyone. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.